And so I'm kind of going to use the same t-shirt to talk about the next person in my honourable mentions, and I'll explain why. But yeah, the next one is Prince, who I guess has influenced all of us in some way or another, or has certainly influenced a lot of our influences, I would expect. Certainly people like Richie Kotzen, like I can hear Prince so very, very clearly in Richie Kotzen's work. And I know that Frankie Poulenc from The Darkness, bass player from The Darkness, for example, is a huge Prince fan. That's his favourite musician. So, you know, I feel like he's just this sort of force of nature, I guess, that was in all of our lives, and we were really lucky to have that. But yes, I'm wearing this same t-shirt because when I was doing a little bit of research I was trying to sort of get the right sort of guitar chords and everything for the Purple Rain short that I put out yesterday. I came across some stuff that I thought was actually really fascinating about the song. It was supposed to have been written by Stevie Nicks, actually. So Prince was a huge Fleetwood Mac fan. He wanted his band, The Revolution, to kind of be like Fleetwood Mac. So he, you know, that's kind of partly the reason why he had two female musicians in the band. You know, he loved Stevie, he loved Christine, and actually he'd written kind of this almost like 10-minute solo. It wasn't really. It was a guitar-based kind of demo. It was about 10 minutes long, and apparently was very different. It was like in the style of like a country ballad or something, which just kind of sounds mad. But apparently he sent this to Stevie Nicks, and he said to her, you know, I'm doing this song, you know, could you write a melody and some lyrics for it? Thanks. And I think he wanted her to kind of sing on it, and he'd wanted to do a duet with her. But I think I'm just kind of guessing here, I don't know, but I think she has said that she felt a bit too overwhelmed by this request. She didn't feel like she was actually up to the task. I'm sure she could have, like I'm 100% sure she could have done it. But sometimes, I don't know, if you put people on the spot, they just kind of panic and lose it. So I think she just kind of panicked and thought, oh no, I don't want that kind of pressure, I suppose. Because yeah, Prince mails you a demo and says, can you just write me a song and we'll sing it together. I mean, yeah, amazing opportunity, but you know, I'm not sure what the deadline was, but you know, I kind of think, well, I would find that quite difficult as well. So bless her, Stevie politely declined. And then obviously Prince and his band went on to write Purple Rain, as it turned out. But yes, that was played obviously by Wendy on the Purple Rickenbacker, which is amazing. And that was, you know, part of the reason why I wanted to see if I could recreate that, at least the tone. You know, can't necessarily nail the chord changes, but can at least kind of try and capture that tone, which is just gorgeous, just absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, I guess he's not personally in my top 5, because I'm not a huge fan, actually, like of all of his music, all of his body of work. And there are certain songs like Purple Rain that are just absolute classics, but I've never bought a Prince album. I think by the time, sort of by the 90s, certainly, by the time I was sort of developing my own musical tastes and getting into guitar playing, he was doing, I suppose, much more like R&B type stuff, which wasn't necessarily really my thing. He'd also had all those falling outs with his label, changing his name, and I understand now why he did all of that, but at the time it just appeared like a really strange thing to do. Why doesn't he want to use his name anymore? What have we got to call him? Squiggle, the symbol, the artist. It would just all seemed a bit kind of, it was a little bit off-putting really, when you're a kid and you don't understand what's going on really. So yeah, I wouldn't kind of say he was one of my guitar heroes in any respect, but obviously in the last few years I've kind of been able to find out more about all of that stuff and understand it a bit better, and since I've discovered that he's been such an influence on some of my influences, I have sort of listened to more of his music, and listened to interviews with him and interviews with people that he's worked with. And one thing that is really important to me is how much he championed working with women in the music industry, with female producers, engineers, musicians. He was a big kind of supporter of women in the industry, and I feel that's massively important. So he is obviously an icon, a legend, and very sadly missed.